What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Wildcat Cave. Globl Jam is 2 weeks away, and it looks like we might actually have a team to go to Canada and at least compete. After weeks of doubting him, John Calipari has shown that no matter how it comes together, he can and he will put together a team that has the potential to compete on the highest level. With the return of Antonio Reeves and the late addition of Trey Mitchell, Kentucky has added depth and experience, both of which this team desperately needed. In this video, we're going to talk about how this roster is built and how they can be successful. So was this the plan that Cal claimed to have a month ago? Highly unlikely. But at the end of the day, we should only judge the final results, and we can all acknowledge that Calipari didn't anticipate Bob Huggins getting fired and Trey Mitchell falling into our laps or Reeves running out of options, but both have happened and it is hugely beneficial for this team. As it sits right now, we have one scholarship remaining and a coaching vacancy. Reports have came out that Chuck Martin from Oregon is likely to fill that open coaching position, and I know he was a friend of Cal and coached with him back in the day, and it does seem like everyone is really big on this dude and would be a great hire, so that's a positive thing. Also, there are some rumors going around that Martin may be bringing a player with him. That's all speculation right now, but I would note that Oregon has a player in Nafali Dante who is one of the best centers in the country, and that just so happens to be the one position that Kentucky is lacking in. It's probably unlikely that he comes, but that's the rumors on the internet right now. As far as this current roster that we have, it's taken a very positive turn from where we were a few weeks ago. We have the original freshmen of DJ Wagner, Justin Edwards, Rob Dillingham, Aaron Bradshaw, and Reed Shepard. And then we added two more freshmen with Joey Hart and the overtime elite leading scorer in Jordan Burks. Then we returned two sophomores in Ugo and Adu. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, when that was our entire team, I was fairly concerned if that was a team that could even make the tournament. I know the freshmen are really highly ranked, but with college basketball as old as it is, and right now, unless they all hit their potential, I think we would have had a tough season. But thankfully, Antonio Reeves came back, and that adds an elite shooter. And then Trey Mitchell transferred in from West Virginia and adds size, depth, and experience of playing high-level college ball. Personally, I still think it would be great to add one more experienced big because I'm not sure if Cal will play Bradshaw at the 5. And like I've said, I have very, very little faith in Ugo right this second. If we don't add a big, I still think this roster can work if Cal is willing to step outside of his comfort zone. With the roster we have right now, we're going to be extremely athletic and be able to play a really fun and creative style of basketball if Cal is willing to do it. It would take Cal being willing to do it and Bradshaw be willing to, first off, play this year, and two, not take advice from his agency, which is Clutch. That, of course, would make the relationship with Clutch in Kentucky worse than it already is, but honestly, at this point, I know we have to deal with Clutch because they have so many of the top players, but I'm kind of sick of them anyway, and people are saying that a lot of their players are considering dropping them because of how they've handled not only some Kentucky players in the past, but other players that they've represented. But if we can get past all of that and Aaron is willing to play and play how Cal would in this scenario, then I think it makes for a really exciting season. This could be the perfect roster to play positionless basketball that Cal has preached for years. If I'm John Calipari, I'm taking Aaron Bradshaw into my office and saying, just listen to me and trust me. I know that you, and especially Clutch, want you to play the 4. I'm going to use you at the 5, but I won't stick you on the block and leave you there. You will still get your outside shots and will be able to play a positionless type of basketball. If Cal can convince Aaron to play like that, and then you could put a lineup on the court that is a shooting threat at all 5 positions and almost impossible to defend effectively. Also, it would allow for pick and pops and give driving lanes for the guards who like to get to the rim and finish. We saw these exact issues the past few seasons with Oscar being in the lane and not giving space for Ty and Kaysen to attack. Severe just wasn't a super effective driver because of his size, and nor was he a great shooter. And there have been many times when we've only had maybe 1 or 2 guys on the court that was even worth defending outside of the paint. This roster could immediately fix both of those problems. Even if Aaron and Clutch are set at being the 4, which is ridiculous at 7'1", but Cal could also play him at the 4 on offense, so he does have the freedom to be on the outside and attack the rim. I have concerns with his ball handling, that it isn't really quite up to par to be effective at that type of play, but who knows. So effectively, he could play the 4 on offense and then defend the 5. Hopefully, that would appease both him and Rich Paul if they aren't willing to budge. I know we spent a lot of the time talking about Bradshaw so far, but none of this would even be relevant if it wasn't for the addition of Trey Mitchell. Here's what I consider, he is what I consider more of a traditional 4 than Aaron. And obviously, that's where I would want him to play, and I think it's where Kentucky wants him to play. But he does have the ability to play a 5 on offense, again, assuming that Cal is not going to try to use him like he did Oscar and just stick him on the block. He averages 2 or 3 3-point attempts per game and shoots roughly a 35% 3-point percentage, which isn't an outstanding number, a mind-blowing performance. But if you can get that sort of productivity from your center, then like I said, teams will have to defend it, which is going to open lanes for other people to get to the rim. Also, having Aaron and Trey at your 4 and 5 will allow DJ or Rob or maybe even Justin to be really effective at the pick and roll. Teams won't be able to sag off the pick and double team the guy going to the rim. Also, with that much athleticism in the front court, hopefully we can get back to guys coming out of that dunker spot and play above the rim like Calipari teams used to do. You all have heard me and probably everybody else say that if John Calipari's style of basketball is still effective in today's game and he is the coach that most of us want to believe that he is, then this will be the year for him to prove it. As for predictions, we can first start with Globl Jam. I haven't watched these in previous years, but from what I gather, these are not the Bahamas teams. These are legit national teams that have played together for years and are likely not 18-year-old kids. I know Kentucky goes into every single game expecting to win, but I would just caution you to temper your expectations. Literally half of the team has been on campus for barely a week, and the other half are all freshmen who've never played together. If we can win 1, maybe 2 games, that should be a really positive sign, but don't be surprised if we go 0-4. It doesn't mean we suck, and it doesn't mean we won't have a good year. This is just a much higher competition level than we would normally play in these types of games. For a starting lineup, here's my best guess as of right now, what we're getting, assuming we don't get another transfer big. At point guard, I have DJ Wagner. The shooting guard, right now, I have Antonio Reeves. Justin Edwards at the 3, Aaron Bradshaw at the 4, and Trey Mitchell playing your center. I think DJ starting is pretty set in stone. The 2 spot does interest me, though. We all know Cal likes to start his freshmen, but I wonder what those conversations between Reeves and Cal were, and if Reeves was guaranteed a starting role to come back. Don't get me wrong, I think Reeves should start, but we know how Cal is, and Rob Dillingham would start on 95% of teams. Edwards, I feel, is pretty much a lock at the 3, and then I think Aaron and Trey are interchangeable, but if Aaron is willing to play how I said earlier, and it makes everyone happy, and it doesn't matter if you call him a 4 or not. The first man off the bench is probably whoever doesn't start between Reeves and Dillingham. Then it's probably Reed Shepherd or Jordan Burks. Ugo will obviously play spot minutes when needed at center, and Adu will get his minutes between the 3 and 4. Joey Hart probably doesn't play a ton this year, but he will see the court some. As far as how successful can this team be, that's all up to the freshmen. I think the additions of Reeves and Mitchell kind of eliminated the possibility of a complete disaster of a season, which is good. But do I think this team is championship level contender? I don't know. I don't think it's crazy to think that, but I also don't think it's crazy if we have a season similar to this past year. Freshmen are such an unknown commodity, it's hard to really get a gauge of where they're going to fall. Now, all the reports coming out of camp right now are that DJ and Justin are exactly who we thought they were, so that's always helpful. And we do have Globl Jam against good teams. That'll be a really good measuring stick. Even if it's just to gauge talent and not necessarily to gauge wins and losses, it'll be good to see where we stand. After we play in Canada, we should have a much better idea of what this team is. In order to be that Final Four level team, though, I believe a few things are going to need to happen. Number 1 is that we need some of these freshmen to really, really hit their potential. Like I said, it sounds like DJ and Justin are turning heads and seem to be living up to their hype so far, but to feel really solid, I would want maybe one more of those guys to step up. Maybe that's Aaron, maybe that's Rob or whoever, but I think we need another freshman to step up and maybe not be an all-star, but be a really dependable piece. Then we have Reeves and Mitchell, who just have to be what we think they are. They don't have to go above and beyond. They just have to be who they are. And finally, we need one or two role players to kind of exceed what we expect out of them. It sounds like Reed Shepherd is earning more minutes by the day, which is promising. I've read the other day that Adu has made improvements, but Ugo really has not. So I don't know if I would count on either of them to be that second guy. Maybe it's Jordan Burks that can be the one to impress us, but one of those guys outside of Reed has to step up and be a solid role player. If all or most of that happens, then yes, I do think this team can reach Final Four level good. I would venture to say that a safe prediction for this team would maybe be top 3 in the SEC and a second weekend exit from the NCAA tournament. I know most of us would be upset with a Sweet 16 exit or maybe even an Elite 8. I personally always consider an Elite 8 a good year. I'd be slightly upset about a Sweet 16, but to be honest, we haven't gotten that far since 2019, so any sort of tournament run outside of the first weekend would be a step in the right direction. Oh, and winning the SEC tournament would be cool too. That is going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you did, hit that subscribe button for me. We are almost to 1,000 subscribers, and it would help the channel a ton, and it means a lot to me. Also, let me know in the comments if your opinion of this team has changed recently and your thoughts on all of it down there in the comment section. Like and share the video while you're at it. I hope to get another video out before Globl Jam and then maybe a live stream after to kind of recap everything. Stay tuned for that, and I'll see you all soon. Go Cats.